Welcome to the Film Nation. My name is Nigel. I'm the host from Stellar J Films. And William?
I'm William. I'm a photographer and videographer from Fukuoka, Japan. And John?
I'm John Beer. I'm a videographer in Iceland and also a videography YouTuber. Hey.
Awesome. Great stuff, guys. So tonight's format's kind of a fun one. We're going to cover a brand new camera that we're super excited about. And then later on, we're going to bring in a special guest of ours, and he's going to be talking about script writing and not run and gun filming, which a lot of us are used to. So it's going to be really fun to bring him on board because you're going to have to organize yourself. And it's something that we all need to learn, organization skills. So yeah. Really good stuff.
Yeah, nice,
yeah. So moving on, you guys probably saw the thumbnail. It's the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. Did I get it right? I don't know. Did I get it right?
Exactly. I think Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro. That's a mouthful. Yeah. So unless you've been living under a rock, yeah. Well, they should. That's ridiculous. It's even less pocket than the first one.
Well, I think the original was a pocket. It was called the Pocket camera, right?
The original one.
First one.
The original.
To show that it's an upgrade from the original one.
Yeah. The original
baggage.
one was super small, but now it's getting ridiculous. Like it's
ridiculous.
bigger than even a R5 is probably smaller than that. Like from Canon.
yeah.
So anyway.
All right. William, take the lead. William's prepared himself. He's ready to go. So
I'm prepared.
William, go ahead. Yeah, he's prepared. We believe he's prepared.
I watched the live stream of Blackmagic at 4 a.m. in the morning here. I'm crazy like that. Anyway, so unless you've been living under a rock and you don't know about Blackmagic, they've been releasing this new camera, the 6K Pro, they call it. So a lot of people have been a little bit disappointed or underwhelmed because a lot of people online on user groups and stuff have been wanting for another form factor for a long time. A lot of people say that the kind of like weird, huge DSLR form factor is not really great for gimbal work, right, John? Right, you agree, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's very wide and there's only a grip on one side of it. On the other side, it's very hard to grip it too. So it's unwieldy.
It's kind of awkward, right?
I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, so
sorry, just one thing. Everyone really wants actually a square or a box.
Yes.
So if you see a lot of these cameras, they're a square, and they just get rid of all the things you don't need.
Exactly.
All you have to do is put a monitor on it, and slap your lens on, and put all your accessories. But a lot of these companies, they're putting way too much on the cameras. So that's kind of what I heard people wanted was just a box, but Blackmagic didn't do that.
For sure. Yeah. So everyone has, anyway, even on the P4K, you would need a lot of accessories. You would need to rig it out to make it work. So a lot of people have been used to that so far, right? A lot of people have been building rigs with those cameras. And so we're used to it. And instead of leaning into that and providing people with a more streamlined camera that's like more compact and doesn't have a screen, for example, or have a better battery system, they went the other way and they tried to make it more usable out of the box, like try to not have to use accessories with it, which I think is kind of like ridiculous because you still need accessories, you still need to rig it out anyway. It's halfway, right? It's kind of like half-assed. So on that front, on the form factor front, I'm a little bit disappointed, like many people. But if you look at the features, it's actually a pretty good camera, right? If you were someone that was actually looking at buying a 6K, I think it's a no-brainer. Like you should definitely buy the 6K Pro instead of the 6K now, like for $500.
Can you show it to me? Can I see it? Can I see it, please?
Let's
You're just
share
talking
my
about it. I
screen.
want to see what it looks like.
I'll show
And I give it a yay,
It
by
has
the
some
way.
amazing features.
Yeah.
So
I give it a
this
yay, by the
is-
way. I'm telling you right now. I'm giving
This
it
is a
thumbs
beast.
up.
This is the middle one. So on the
not a
left is
pocket
the
camera.
old 4K. Yeah, on the left is the 4K, on the right is the 6K, and the new 6K Pro is in the middle. And it's a huge camera. It's even taller than it used to be.
Wow.
So for me, the feature that's the most interesting and actually makes it a pro camera, like they say, like the name suggests, is the internal ND filter. So
I knew you were going to say
that's
that.
going to be right.
I mean, seriously, that's a game changer because the
that's
Sony
awesome.
FX6 has built-in NDs, but the body's $6,000, right? It's 6K. So, but William, is it a
exactly.
variable ND or is it just a regular ND?
There's 4 filters in there. There's a clear filter, a 2 ND, 4 ND, and 6 ND. So that's going to be 6 stops lower, right? You're going to be.
But is it a variable? So the Sony FX6, when you
it's not variable.
It's not variable. Oh, okay. Well, all right.
No, it's not automatic. You're going to have to punch the buttons to switch from 2 to 4 to 6.
Okay.
And so that means you can't use that while shooting, right? If you're recording, it's going to look awkward because you're going to see a change in the exposure, like a dramatic change. So you have to do that before you start shooting.
I see.
But I think it's still a great feature if you want to be able to use very wide aperture lenses in daylight. You set up your ND6 and you're good to go.
Just one thing I've heard Sony FX6 people saying that even their built-in NDs, you do have to actually slap on another ND on the lens if you are using fast glass.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get 1.1 out in a sunny day, a lot of these built-in NDs in the cameras, you're going to have to still bring in your own ND. It's not going to cut it. So just a little thing I heard from the Sony FX6 groups. So yeah.
Definitely. ND6 is not that strong. So
Yeah. What is that? ND6 is what? Is it 32? Is that a 32? It's about a 32, isn't it? Yeah, I know. It's really confusing.
6 stops down, so I think it's 2 to the power of 6. So I think it's 32 or 64.
Yeah, it's probably the 32.
It's 32. Yeah, it's 32.
Yeah, it's 32.
Oh, okay.
I remember because on my YouTube channel I have an ND filter video, and people ask me about this all the time. So this is one of those confusing parts I've had to answer quite a few times. So yeah, it's ND32.
And don't even get confused by Tiffin. Tiffin's like 0.6, 0.9, and a 1.2, and you have to convert that even more now. So it gets so confusing.
So I've been using 32 a lot, and I feel as long as you're shooting at f2, it should be enough. Like I've been in that like hot, sunny Turkey weather, and f2 generally looks very well exposed with an ND32. So I think it's a very rare occasion that you're going to go like below that, like f1.1, like you said. Like there might be instances, like I like the bokeh just like the next guy, but it's not every shot. So for sure,
all right,
just carry an extra ND for those very rare cases.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's keep going there, Will. I'm sorry to interrupt.
So that's a great feature. That's the first time I see a feature like that in such a small camera, right? You usually see that on cameras like the Sony FS5, or the Canon C200. Actually,
that's the reason for me to get the camera. It's the internal ND. Those are crazy good.
Exactly. So the next big feature is this new screen that's actually kind of like a tilty screen up and down. So it won't flip like a vlogger camera, which it's not a vlogger camera, right? So it's no problem. But having a screen that actually tilts up and down and is actually very bright, it's probably 3 times brighter than the old one. That's actually pretty good. That makes an argument for not necessarily needing a top screen on your rig. You could get by without a screen. I think you could use that actually.
This reminds me of the Sony. What is it called? The Sony series. I forgot what they're called. The 6600 series.
Oh, the A6400.
Yeah, I used one for about a month, and it had the same flippy style. And it's good. It's good to use. It does help when you're using those low angles and stuff. So. Yeah. Oh wow! Enjoy your channel at 4 a.m. That's from the US.
Thank you, man. 4 a.m. in Arizona.
He must be an editor. He's an editor. I bet he's probably waking up.
For sure.
He's an editor. Yeah, but the screen is actually quite nice. I don't mind tilting it especially on gimbal when you're doing the low angle gimbal shots. It's nice to have a screen that just tilts a little bit. So definitely.
So I guess that's the only part where they actually listened to the community or saw what people were doing in the community, because there's been a hack, kind of like a brand called Tiltaco made a kind of like a hack for the screen where you send your camera to them and they will replace your screen with a tilty screen that goes up and down. And so now they made that official. So why not? That's good. And the screen is way brighter.
That's a
So
big screen. Look at the size of
that's a
that
big
thing.
screen. Yeah,
Mhm.
that screen is very good. Like I mean, on the even the OG P4K and Pocket 6K, it's a good screen, but you can only use it
Look
inside.
at the button. Look at the button. The ND. Look at it. Just made it so
yeah.
dumb. Look, it just
Yeah.
push, positive,
Push.
negative. Like,
Yeah,
you know, it's just so dumbified. You know.
yeah, it's easy to use, but
Yeah,
I
for
can say
sure.
that this Blackmagic camera release is great for the competition this 2021. Blows creator minds what to choose. Yeah, for sure. Makes me makes it really hard to find a. Yeah, there's no perfect camera out there. That's for
Yeah.
sure. You know, you always
Oh.
gonna have a trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say for sure that what I find refreshing about Blackmagic, it's like Nigel, you just mentioned how stupid simple it is. The ND, it's just like a button, plus and minus.
Yeah.
What excites me about Blackmagic is that it's one of the few camera creators that aren't like Japanese in origin. And I find that like user interface
true.
tends to be very complicated with like Japanese machines in general. So I think that attributes to like kind of why their design is straightforward. Like they're just rethinking it and just going straight for like, okay, well, how can we make it more usable? So we don't have to bury these essential features in like layers of menus.
For sure.
I mean, if
So,
you deal with a
yeah.
Sony will blow you away
Yeah.
because if you have to even do a frame rate change, you have to go like 2 layers deep into the menu system. And that's just a nightmare, right? Because you just like, it's complicated, man, Sony menus.
Yeah.
So that really
What I
turns
really
me
like
off.
about the
Yeah.
Pocket 4K is that you just have a single button to change to a frame rate that you already set in the menu. So like, boop, and then you're ready to shoot at 60 frames per second slow
Yeah, the
motion,
HFR button is really cool. Yeah, but I think all this also comes from the fact that they just made a video camera. They don't care at all
Yeah.
about photography. They didn't
For
make
sure, yeah.
a hybrid camera, so they could just focus on video features.
Just a quick question. So like if you want to go from like a 4K 30 and you want to do 4K 60 or 120, it uses the same white balance, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you set up your white balance and you just push the button and you're in slow motion, right? Like you go
Yeah.
a higher frame rate.
It doesn't
Problem with
change
the
anything else.
It
The
changes the
GH5, if I wanted-
exposure because of the frame rate increase. But that's
Yeah, that's
for
fine.
sure.
I get that. But the problem with me with the GH5, if I want to go in my slow motion, I might have like a C1 or like a custom setting.
Yeah, yeah.
And my white balance was set to that specific room with a with a color chart. And now I'm struggling because all of a sudden my white balance is all over the place, you know, from slow motion to regular. And that really, you know, tweaks me. So I like the fact that Blackmagic says you want slow motion, you just push a button and you're good to go. It's quicker,
Yeah,
it's faster.
absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
While you're talking about presets, that's the one thing I wish there was in Blackmagic camera is having more presets of like frame rate. Because if you want to switch from like if you're shooting 4K and want to go for 30 to 60, you just have to press one button and it's good to go. But if you want to switch to let's say 2.7K at 120 FPS, then you have to go into the menus and change everything. And it takes at least 20 seconds.
Yeah,
So-
this is my gripe as well.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that would be nice if you could have like at least 2 or 3 presets.
Yeah, that would be
but
nice.
Yeah.
They have
Whatever.
presets, but they're like hidden in the menu as well. So it defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's keep going.
So,
New camera. Let's
Another
go on,
thing,
new camera.
another
Yeah.
thing that's great with this new camera. Well, actually, they're bringing it to all the cameras. So it's the Gen 5 color science. But it's not exclusive to the 6K Pro. You're gonna have an update to the firmware on the 4K and the 6K, and you're gonna be able to benefit from that Gen 5 color science while you shoot. Actually, right now you can already access it when you're editing in DaVinci. You can already edit your old footage in Gen 5 color science. And what that does is solves a few problems, especially in the highlights. So you're gonna have way better gradients or fall off in the roll off in the highlights, and yeah, that's pretty great. That's good to have. It's not gonna change your life, but it's good to have. And then the last thing, the most like kind of like gimmicky, I think. I don't know if it's gimmicky or if it's good, but the EVF, they have an optional EVF for the camera.
I'm torn about this one.
Yeah, me too.
I
Totally
mean,
torn.
you really
because-
need this. I mean,
I've
honestly.
When
always
you have a
wanted to
giant
play-
5-inch monitor,
Yeah.
I don't think you need it.
Exactly. I've always wanted to have an EVF on my camera, and that's really great to have one. But at the same time, the way they implemented it, like making it like stick on the top, and that you can't have it like separated from the camera, I think that's really dumb. Like if you're gonna rig your camera, you're gonna have like a handle on the top, or even if you don't rig it, like how do you hold your camera to look in there? Are you gonna hold your camera like this? Like
most professional
like
cameramen, they have the camera here, and then they have this like extension EVF over
so
here,
on
and
the
then
side.
they put the right eye and they focus like that, right?
Exactly.
So probably third parties will come up with this new, it'll slide out to the left or the right, and you'll be able to
maybe
maybe
someone makes a cable for that. For that
there you
EVF,
go.
so that you can actually put it in your eye or something. That would be nice, right?
Wireless, and you
wireless
just have
would
it on
be
your head,
awesome.
and it's just like a bionic thing, and it just sits here.
Exactly.
sorry,
That would be so
sorry.
awesome. That would be so awesome.
You just
Like,
wireless.
it's over
focus,
9,000.
and you got your wireless focus
Break
here.
the
And you
scanner.
It's over 9,000. Yeah. Exactly. So that would be awesome. But this one is kind of awkward. You can't use it on a shoulder rig, and you like if you hold it in your arms like this, you kind of have to be like. That's kind of weird, but I guess.
I see we got a great question coming in. We will get to that question. So you just hold on there, Revon, and that'll sort of be a great question. So we're going to come into that one after this. So hang in there, buddy.
What else? There's nothing much else. Like a few incremental changes. You now have 2 XLR ports. Yeah, if you're into that. If you're into that, that's good. I mean, if you want to do an interview with 2 mics, I guess. No, why not? Cool. That's cool. What else? And also you have a few more formats. So the 6K used to be that you had this weird thing where you could not shoot everything in B-roll. Like 4K would be only ProRes, and then 6K would be only B-roll. Now you have access to everything in B-roll, so that's always good.
That's really
if you're
huge.
into.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
If you're into
William,
shooting
before
4K.
you shoot off, can you go back to the other page for a second? I just saw
sorry,
something.
what's
I might
up?
have some good little information about this. So the tentacle, is that what it's called? The
Oh,
octopus.
yep.
Yeah.
I
keep
skipped
scrolling.
it.
I just saw it. You
I was
skipped it.
right here. Yep.
Right there. Built-in time code generator. Okay, so Frame.io just came out with something, and it's revolutionary. And it's basically wireless transfer of your files to your whole entire editing platform. And it's creating proxies on the fly and exporting it all. So I just thought maybe this might be something that is happening. I don't remember the company, but Frame.io is letting everyone time code the audio and the video in post-production as it's all being synced as it's being shot. So the editor is getting the footage in Los Angeles, and he's already editing the footage as it's coming in that minute. This was just launched last week. I think it was from the company who makes Tentacle. So I'm just wondering if that's going to happen with this built-in timecoder generator and all this type of syncing stuff, because that's going to be the wave of the future. Production companies are going to be sending all their footage to the editors on the fly with the proxies. And then when they import all the footage, it's going to sync everything perfectly with the originals and the proxies that were created. So this just was announced this week, actually, from Frame.io. So I'm just wondering, because I know with Tentacle, they do all this type of stuff. So it's kind of the new wave of editing and filmmaking and stuff. So they called it the big game
I think
changer.
it requires a lot of setup. I think high value productions will use it, but
this is
for
$1 million
most of us-
companies. So
for most of us, we won't really be using this sort of stuff.
but you're seeing this built-in timecoder generator. This is leading into the industry using these in actually full-on production companies now. So it's moving towards that idea. So just wanted to throw that in. That's all.
Cool.
So
All right, cool.
that's
So,
pretty
So I don't know
Yeah.
if we have anything to add, but like
we
on
do
the
have a
technical
few
side.
questions here.
Yeah,
we
get that
can,
one that
Okay.
Rev just
jump
asked
into.
in MFT G5 users. Him and I are on the same boat. I'm a Micro Four Thirds GH5 user. Would you recommend moving to full frame and spend another for the lens lineup, or just stay with Micro Four Thirds and continue with lenses? What I'm going to do, my friend, is I believe he's in Nagoya. He's a friend of mine, actually. I'm going to actually sell my GH5S on the auction sites and go for this. And I'm going to probably sell a lot of my micro four thirds lenses, and I'm moving to full frame. There's just too many benefits to using this type of system. There's a lot of lenses that you could use, old Canon lenses and lots of adapters and things. And I think it's a great call moving to full frame, and I want to use Cine Glass now. So you guys know I have my eye on a couple lenses,
Yeah.
and so
Well,
that's
it's not full frame,
perfect.
it's APS-C,
Okay,
Super
thank you.
35.
Super
Yeah,
35.
Yeah.
but you would
Um,
use what you're saying is you're gonna use EF full frame glass, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The glass is gonna be full frame. I think it's good, but yeah, no, it's
Mm.
good. It's good. I don't know if you have to
Um,
switch your camera.
I'll offer the
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'll offer the alternative viewpoint, which is I got the Pocket 4K, and I'm doing sort of like what Nigel's doing, but in a hybrid way, where I use a speed booster, so I have access to the EF glass, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I have the option of using all my micro four thirds lenses as well.
Mm.
So the Pocket 4K still is a micro four thirds camera. So that's, for me, that's a happy medium. And
Yeah.
honestly, after seeing everything about the Pocket 6K Pro, I would be more inclined. So like we asked in the beginning, yay or nay. I think I'm going to lean a little bit towards nay and say that I'd be more inclined to pick up another Pocket 4K rather than picking up the 6K. But it's that internal ND that makes me excited.
Yeah.
So if I did pick up the 6K Pro as well, then I would still have my EF lenses that I adapt to the Pocket 4K with the speed booster.
Exactly.
So I would be able to still use a lot of my lenses between the two. So it's a weird answer, but in a hybrid way, you can start picking up EF lenses and use a speed booster. And then if you're very comfortable with EF lenses, you can go all in like Nigel's doing. So I like to have that option open.
I totally agree. And so the answer for you would be don't hesitate to invest in micro four thirds camera. It's not a problem. It's good because micro four thirds cameras can adapt any glass, so it's really good. But investing in MFT lenses on the other side is maybe not very future proof because MFT lenses can't be adapted on anything else.
Yeah.
So those MFT lenses are stuck on the MFT system.
Yeah.
So doing something like if you have more money to spend on lenses and you should invest and you want to buy more expensive lenses, more than a few $100, you should get EF glass probably, or EF glass, because you can adapt it on your MFT camera, and then later when you upgrade your camera, maybe you could still use them. So
just to chime in, the GH6 has been rumored to be a micro four thirds. So if you want to stay in the GH5 system, then the GH6 will be micro four thirds. So if you're thinking about Blackmagic, there is that, but there could be a possible GH6 being launched towards the end of this year, and it got pushed back because of the corona and the production and stuff like that. But the rumor is GH6 is coming out with micro four thirds, and it's going to be a beast from what I heard. So
I don't know about where's the rumor from? Because I don't know. I
the
hear
video.
so many.
Watch the video.
Which one?
Watch the
Which
video.
one?
I don't know. I watched the
Show it-
video
show it
while I
to
was
us.
cooking.
No, because
I was
I've
cooking.
seen
I was
so
watching
so many rumors. I've seen so many rumors telling one thing and the opposite. You know that after a while you're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Most of them are just wishful thinking, right?
Yeah, I know. I know. But if it is
Just-
GH6 micro four thirds, it means they're not killing it. They're actually going to keep producing new lenses, and it's going to keep going. So if you're a GH5 user, you might want to think about it. So, and you know what? Another thing is, if you are thinking about Blackmagic, maybe you want to jump into the Pocket 4K used, and you can probably get them for like $900 coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
You could get
Yeah,
two
for
of
sure.
those for almost a GH5 now. So yeah, it's not a bad idea. So
I'm a huge Pocket 4K guy.
John, you bought yours used, right? You bought it from eBay, I believe.
Yeah, no, I bought it on a Facebook group that we're
There
all
you
actually
go.
a part of, and
There you go.
the guy just shipped it from Canada, and super
Awesome.
nice guy, and
Cool.
now we still stay in touch. So
Nice,
awesome.
nice.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
So if you're on a budget, you can get into Blackmagic Pocket cameras easily, and get them used. So yeah, for sure. Don't buy them in Japan; they're too expensive. So go on the used market. So
Cool.
Is that it? Are you
Should
you guys want to keep
yeah.
going, or what do you want to do?
No, I think we
I'm
pretty much
good
wrapped
for
it
the
up, no?
pocket talk. There's one question here from Marco. He's been asking this a while ago, and he invested already in a Pocket 4K, and he's considering upgrading to the 6K with a bigger sensor, because apparently the bigger sensor is it's a selling point for him. So he mentioned that the being able to record in BRAW is a huge thing for him. So I think for you, Marco, that getting the Pocket 6K Pro would be exactly the machine that you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that right?
Because
there's no confusion with the ProRes and the BRAW. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no 4K RAW recording on the 6K right now, so
Yeah.
you might need to go for the Pocket 6K. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, would you shoot 4K on the 6K, because it's gonna crop.
It's
like
cropped,
you can't
yeah.
have 4K B-roll on the full sensor on the 6K. It's not possible technically.
And this is one of the main
So it's
reasons
gonna
I
be
got the
cropped.
Pocket 4K originally, because I don't like having to shoot with a crop. And when using a speed booster and EF lenses on the Pocket 4K, you're actually getting a wider field of view with an EF lens on the Pocket 4K than you do on the 6K in 6K.
It's
So
so confusing, man. It's like
Yeah,
a
it's
science
super
degree,
confusing.
man.
Yeah,
But
and
the
on that
speed
same
booster
I
note,
just want to
totally
shoot. I don't
changed
care. I
the
just want to
game.
make a movie. I don't care about all this stuff.
and on that same note, if you were to shoot the 6K cropped to 4K, it would be a way smaller sensor than the
Yeah,
Pocket
it's basically
4K.
like shooting Micro Four Thirds.
Yeah, even
It's so
smaller,
confusing,
even smaller. So that would suck.
man. You need like a guide, you know.
You need a fucking degree. You need a degree to understand crop factor, man.
I need to go to Blackmagic Film School.
I have a question directly to me. So actually, I have a lot of Olympus lenses that I use a lot, and I tend to use them more heavily than my EF lenses. So still, I would say don't be too shy to just buy a bunch of cool Olympus lenses. What I like about them is that they have the
clutch,
manual
yeah.
focus ring, the clutch, so you can get hard stops on them, but you can also use autofocus and fly-by-wire if you want. So Olympus lenses get a huge thumbs up from me, and the one I'm
Yeah.
using a lot right now is like the wide 7 to 14 millimeter. Like that's such a good lens. So that's
100%
sitting on my
agreed.
it's sitting on my
Yeah.
Pocket 4K like 90% of the time right now.
Yeah,
So
my Olympus
don't be
12
afraid of the Pocket 4K.
Yeah, my Olympus 12 to 40 is probably one of my favorite lenses. Like it's so small, compact, and 2.8, and it has a huge range. So it's really good, really good.
So good, yeah.
Olympus is really good, yeah.
I'm using primes, and I'm getting kind of tired of prime lenses. Don't get me wrong, the image quality is great, but just the fact that I can't zoom in is starting to piss me off, especially when you're running gunning, and it's like, oh, I can't zoom in. So
for sure.
I'm getting a little tweaked over that one. So.
All right, I'm getting ready to move on because we have somebody.
Enough gear talk.
Patiently
Everyone
waiting.
for us.
Patiently waiting.
Yes,
All
very
right.
patiently.
So we're gonna bring in a good friend of ours, and his name. Oh, he's getting ready. I can see him there. So are you ready, Mark? All right. So we're gonna be bringing in a friend of ours by the name of Mark Cowan, and here he is. His internet.
Hey, man.
Hang in there, man. Hopefully it's all
hope
good.
so.
Yeah. All right. So quick intro. This is Mark Cowan. Him and I worked in a small film project called The Four Goddesses, and he does. He's a director, producer, kind of does it all, and he does a lot of script writing. And for us running gun travel documentary kind of people, drones and stuff, we're all oh, great shot, let's go out there and film it. But Mark's more of a slower pace. He likes to actually have the whole script written down and what the actresses are going to say, and it's what do we call it again? It's what kind of filmmaking?
It's very
it's called?
different work. It's narrative. Work,
Narrative.
so-
Thank you.
Yes.
It's narrative. It's narrative.
Narrative.
So it's a very different
narrative.
beast.
Yeah. So, Mark, it's all yours. Go ahead, talk about yourself, and welcome to the show, buddy. Welcome.
Hello.
Well, I guess
Thanks
we
for
should
having
be
me.
asking the questions.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let him introduce himself. Yeah.
Okay. Slow pace, like as in 2 years to make a short film. Yes, we shot in the summer, and finally it's done editing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a group called Cabot Studios. Anyway. It's a collaboration of a group of friends. We've been going for 8 years now, and we started off photograph projects, and now we're moving to movies. Me being the prime driver of that. I write scripts a lot. you introduced me as being a producer director, but I primarily see myself as a script writer, and the only way right now I'm going to get these scripts made into film is I have to do it myself. But there's a big difference between narrative and documentary, or as you say, run and gun. Just past experience, I've been helping a producer in Tokyo, and his approach to planning out a story is very different than mine. You just can't imagine. Like, so when you're thinking of a story and what you're going to shoot, it's always going to be different in a narrative. With what you're doing, you're looking right at, okay, so this is the lake, that's the beach, that's the dock. Okay, I've got my scene. Yeah. Whereas I'm like, okay, I imagine the lake, I imagine the dock, I imagine the beach. Okay, let's go location hunting, see if we can find those. Oh, we found the beach here, we found the dock in that city way over there. Do we really need this dock scene?
Yeah, and it was really interesting when I worked with you. You had a shrine, and when you got to ring the bell. Well, we just kind of created. I shouldn't say this, but we created like a fake string to ring the bell. I shouldn't. Okay, but that's movie magic. Don't worry. But the point is one scene was filmed here because he said, in my idea, it's old, so I need this, but then I need this because this is, and it looked like it was one place, but it was actually filmed in two different shrine or temples and stuff. And that was really interesting. Like, your vision was like just so crazy. I was like, it doesn't matter where we film it. And you're like, no, it has to be here because of this, right? So, very different, that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. That makes sense. Makes sense, though.
Yeah,
totally.
All right, so we had a question for him. So let's put up the first question of the day. And what are the 4 steps to script writing? So I'm, kind of new to it. How would you get into script writing? Now, this is different from storyboarding. This is script writing. So please explain a little bit of the 4 steps.
Okay. Well, storyboarding is you write the dialogue with pictures, and that would be left to the very end. Okay, so 4:00 in the morning, this idea hits you. Okay, that seemed like a good idea. What would happen if a taxi driver suddenly picked up a girl who just robbed a bank?
Okay.
It could happen. And you have to think of, like, okay, the motivation, the why is she robbing the bank? How does he know that she's robbing a bank? Obviously, the taxi, she needs to go someplace.
So you would say that the premise is usually the idea. So the idea comes in form of a premise, and then you just fill in how to make sense of it.
For me, there's I see something, I think of something. Sometimes it's a dream, and then you build story around it. Like, this idea behind the taxi driver actually came from a song in the '80s, and the song's running through my head and think, okay, look, I think I could do this as a movie. But the first, and this is the mistake I made with that story, was the first attempt was, okay, I'm going to write a script. And, it's, if you don't think out the whole story before you start writing the script, you're going to end up in a corner. And you can't get out of that corner. And that's the problem I had with that story.
Because you go so far into it in such great depth and detail that it's hard to remove all the skeleton of what you created? Is that kind of in my head? Does that make sense?
Well, in that particular story, I ended up with a problem of there's a dead guy, a very heavy dead guy, in the middle of his luxury mansion, and everybody who was at the murder scene has run away. And the cops have to show up, and there can't be a body.
Okay.
And you forgot to remove the body.
That's I'm stuck in the corner.
I see.
Okay.
I see.
So I had written, pages and pages and pages, like, I don't know, it was how many pages of 40, 50 pages, and I was like, oh, fuck. How do I get rid of this body? He can't beat it. If he's there, the whole story falls apart. The whole story falls apart.
I see.
So, and after years of writing all this, there's solutions to this. You can write cards. You'll get those stories about cards. But cards, the idea behind cards, okay, this scene, this scene, this scene. and then you can mix them all up whichever way. But it's still, you haven't got a story arc. You haven't got this, okay, what happens in the beginning? Girl pops into the car. She tells him, drive. Okay, where do they go? And to solve that out, don't be writing down all the dialogue. Don't be worrying about the scenes and the camera shots and whether they're going to do it in slow motion or anything like that, and what special effects and stuff like that. Write a simple version of it, and this is what's called a treatment, and it's in 3 acts. Treatment.
Good.
It's generally in 3 acts. I do 4 because I feel that the last act is nothing to do with the dialogue. It's just like, okay, and they lived happily ever after, or they never found the body. And you rough it out, and you don't have to worry about dialogue. If you pick up something that you like, you'll put it in, a particular phrase or something like that. You'll put those scenes in, but you don't have to worry about anything in detail. And you've not really made any commitment. You've got this idea of what the character looks like, but you're not going to write it down. And so the first act is basically introducing the main characters. What is their problem? What do they have to solve? Okay, then when you get that going, you go to the second act, which is, okay, now they're solving the problem, the steps that's going to be taken to solving the problem. And then the third act is the climactic, okay, whatever nemesis has come in to stop them from solving the problem. And then something, oops, if I pull this lever, we're safe. You have the third act. And there you're looking at maybe, depending on length, 5 to 10 pages. And you haven't really committed all that much work into it. So it's easy to go back and say, oh yeah, there's a dead guy here. I have to get rid of him.
I see. Yeah.
You're going to face that problem, and you work it out. And then once you've got all that sort of worked out, it's okay. Then it's much easier to write the story, because when you're writing scene, you say, okay, I need to have these 2 guys to carry out the body, and I have to introduce them here. Right, so you know what's going to be happening beforehand.
So this is step 1. This is step 1. Is this correct to say this is only step 1 of 4? Is that true? Is this step 1? Like
so
this is the very early, right?
Treatment,
okay,
right?
This is the treatment.
Okay, so hold on.
Treatment is step 1.
Okay, hold on. Hang on. While you get there, hold on. I've already prepared something. So there's a website called Studio Binder, and I did a little pre-research because he was mentioning treatment, and I was like, Mark, what the heck are you talking about treatment? And so Studio Binder is awesome. If you've never been here, this sort of really helps any of you out there. And there's a video on it, so obviously you can search this yourself. And this goes on to, you've got a dynamite idea for a movie or series. You're ready to jump into your script pages, crank out this puppy, earn piles of dough, and change the cultural landscape forever. But again, what is a film treatment? So that's basically, here are some examples of a film treatment. So probably make this one full screen so it's a little bit easier for everyone to see. And basically, like you said, Mark, how many pages did you say yours is usually?
It's the short film would be 5, 6, full length
5,
can
6.
be 10, 20.
Treatments can be longer than 2. James Cameron, for example, writes 70-page treatments to get his stories organized.
Yeah, but he's got lots of money. People pay his treatments.
And it's exactly what you said.
And
Act
it's a full
1,
length.
right? How do you write a screenplay and stuff like that? And there you go. There's more information. So we'll put that in the description, or you can just search Studio Binder. They've got lots of really good information. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw that in real quick. So, so let me just remove this. So,
so for your treatment, you're going to use, when you're going to go to a producer, you're going to go to a director, you're going to give them that first, right? So it's 10 pages. It's an hour for them to read, whether they decide they're going to like the film or not. You don't, giving them the script. Here's my 90-page script. They're not going to read it. Give them the treatment.
Good point, yeah.
Okay, you've got the treatment. Now you write the script.
Yeah.
Okay, so formatting. Yes, you've got dialogue. You've got the scenes. You've got little ext, external, int, internal. You've got these set phrases, cut, fade in, montage, and you're going to have to learn how to use those. The story binder, the one that you just showed, that's got lots of explanations of how to write a script. There is software out there that will do the formatting for the script. Celtics, Highlander.
Oh, nice.
And The one I use, which is a plugin on Google, Yumi Script, is very nice to use. It's also the cheapest. So you're looking about $100 a year for that. So when you've got the treatment, you've got the map out to how to write the script. And so writing the script is scene, 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 scene.
That's where you go really into detail, right?
That's where you go into detail, but not too much detail. Don't worry about the camera angles. Because the cameraman's going to say, no, we can't do that. Why? Because I'm going to be standing in the lake. I don't want to be standing in the lake. So you have to, you can say things like, okay, so for example, if the audience can't know something like he's got a gun, you say camera from behind. Right? So you don't know that there's a gun. So there's a sudden surprise, the camera goes around, oh, he's got a gun. So you don't go into too much detail about camera. Don't worry about slow motion and stuff like that. The producer and the director and the DP, they're all going to worry about those sort of things. One
So
key
the script
thing about a
is everything detailed story related, and then it leaves out all the technical stuff. Sorry, if I cut in.
Yeah. There's another script called the shooting script, and that's where you worry about camera. Is it?
I see.
You know,
I
is it
see.
from here? Is it zoom? Is it zoom? Is it cowboy shot or whatever?
That would
Because
go with the
really, you
storyboard, right?
don't know where it's going to be shot. You don't know what the director's going to be thinking about it. So don't worry about that. David Cameron can do it because he's going to do it. He's got the money. Also, other thing is that this is, I don't always follow this one, but only write what you can see.
Only write what you can see.
You can see.
Oh.
It's a film. He felt perplexed. But how does he show that? You can say like he furrows his brow and scratches his head. Okay, he felt perplexed. He scratched his head. You have to put that in. So it's an important thing that you have to keep in mind. You have to be able to see it. You can't just, what is the person thinking? Now, myself, I break this rule because I do tend to put those things in. This is something for whatever actor or actress is going to read.
Yeah.
That they know what they're supposed to be thinking, but you have to be able to show it. You have to be able to you have to visualize it. So,
How long does it take to write one of these? Like I'm just ballparking, like what is this?
Okay, so the first one I was talking about, the taxi driver, that took me 4 years.
Holy shit!
Wow.
4 years.
Shit!
Sorry about that.
Well, okay, so it was my first one, and it sort of hung up. Well, there was one hang up with what I'm going to do with this dead body, and there was a hang up which just was tied on one line. Basically, he gave his backstory, girl and guy, right? The taxi driver and the girl, and then I had to think of a way to just switch it so she gives her backstory.
I see.
Okay, and see, because I hadn't done a treatment or anything like that, I was stuck. I'm like, I can't keep the story going until I can come with a clever line to get it to switch over, and then I can write the rest. You have the treatment. You can say, well, I don't need to worry about that. I know where the rest of the story is going. On the other hand, yesterday I wrote a short film in 3 hours.
I see.
But I had
So
already
the time
worked it
can
out.
vary quite a lot. Yeah.
In that case, I had, it's a short story, so it's 17, 20 minutes, but I had already written out the treatment. I'd already worked out what, how abstract or how bizarre I was going to make this story. And so I was writing a few changes here and there, but it ended up, most of the scenes were already worked out, most of the dialogue was already worked out. So yeah, I was done in an afternoon.
Oh,
Wow. I wish I could do that.
2.
That's 2. So that's step 2. Anyone got any questions at this point? So we've got the treatment. And what's the next one? We've got
Script.
treatment. And we got the script.
the script. Yeah.
Do we have any questions at this point? So you're in phase 3. You're moving to
Phase
phase
3.
3. You got
The
your treatment. You
synopsis.
got your script. Hypnosis. Oh boy. All right.
Synopsis.
Oh,
Okay,
oh,
so
Sorry there, Mark. We just blasted something right over your face. Matt's the
problem.
boy from
Oh, sorry.
Ireland. Ireland, is that right? He's
Yeah.
from Ireland? Yeah.
Ireland.
Thanks, buddy.
He's been on
Yes.
every live stream so far, and he's done a lot of narrative stuff. So definitely, this is right up his alley.
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool.
Good. So the synopsis is 3 paragraphs. I sum up my story in 3 paragraphs. So if you're publishing an essay, right, it's an abstract. This is what my story is about, and this is what you're going to give to, you want to get you're trying to get a cameraman on board, or you're trying to get an actress on board. Here's the basics of the story.
I see.
Right. So again, they're going to make a decision very quickly. 15
Based
minutes
on
of
what
coffee.
they're seeing. It's like the snippet of a CD. I think that's kind of what it is. It's like the trailer information,
Yes.
I see.
Would you go as
and-
far as calling it the elevator pitch of your entire script?
No, because it's 3 paragraphs. The
No,
elevator pitch
okay.
is coming up next.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, so an important thing is this was a big problem that I had. I didn't want to give away the ending. She was the guy she was the one who killed him, right? I didn't know, but it's like, no, you have to tell these people. Okay.
Well,
You
the
have
people
to.
who are gonna work on your movie, right?
Yes.
You have to tell it to them. Yeah, sure.
You're taking the risk that the big reveal that he killed or she killed or whatever, the twist at the end. You have to tell these people, because you have to say, if that's your catch, if that little twist at the end is your catch, you have to get that person to say, okay, yeah, I like that twist at the end. So you
I
have to
see.
tell the whole thing.
Do you have to sign like an NDA or something? Like it almost sounds like at this point you got to have people who can't
yeah.
reveal,
Can
Can I
you
ask-
afford the
yeah.
lawyers to enforce that?
No, of course not.
No.
Yeah.
Can
Go
I
ahead,
ask
William.
you
Go
something on that note? I'm always wondering, like, when you're trying to sell a script to someone, I've always wondered, like, if I receive the script, would I find it interesting? Like, would I know that it's a good story or not? Because when it's not like fleshed out into the movie, like a lot of what makes a movie interesting is how it's edited and how the emotion is conveyed, how it's revealed. But how do you convey how do you feel that something is going to be interesting when you're just like writing? Oh, that's what happens. It's not a novel,
Yeah.
right? When you write a novel, you can actually like build some suspense, etc. But do you do that when you write a treatment, or do you just like is it just descriptive?
I try to make it entertaining. It's you have to be. Yeah, it is. You can't just say, and then she opened, and then she got in the taxi and told the driver to drive the taxi. She flees into the taxi, bangs on the back of the seat. She screams at him, "Drive!" You have to do it that way.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So
you
you're
got to
still
give
trying
those.
to-
Yeah, you have to give the picture,
Yeah.
right? You got to instill the image of what you're trying to convey in
Yes.
text, right? You can't just say "girl goes to taxi." It has to be,
Well, yeah. Okay. So this is. You guys are used to working with visuals, right? So when you say first thing is okay, it's like the storyboard. I'm used to visuals in here, right? And so I can't storyboard, as Nigel knows. I'm shit with the camera. So I've only got words to try and convince somebody to say, okay, yeah. I'm in. I'll be the taxi driver. I'll be the cameraman. I'll be the director.
yeah. And
one of-
girl
yeah, go
bangs on the taxi door is more visual than girl gets in the taxi. Like,
Yes.
yeah, I see. Selling the idea, you really have to be illustrating it with this sort of visual language. So that's the part of the what was this step again? The
This is the
abstract. So it
synopsis.
has to be very visual. The synopsis. Sorry, so that's step 4.
This is step 3.
Step 3.
Okay.
But hang on, before you move to step 4, Scott has a fantastic question. With the synopsis, do you ever reference other films so as to give the idea of the look and feel of the piece? So that's kind of like a mood board almost.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I
Yeah.
shoved away the comments.
Almost like a mood board, right? You know what I mean? Like you would want to maybe have some images of different things, and you could actually create like a mood board. Now William taught me all about mood boards, and we go to Pinterest a lot, and we just start collecting all these images and things. So yeah, we use that a lot. So
Yeah. I personally haven't. Like, this movie is like Brazil, or this movie is like a James Bond film. I haven't done that. No, I haven't done it. A story, what was it, the mood board. I did that with Four Goddesses. I don't think it made much difference. I don't think it made that much difference.
Okay.
But it's each writer's got his own style.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
This reminds me of what's his name again? The director guy from New Zealand who did one of the Thor movies. He's famous for saying that he got the job. Like, he's not known for doing these sort of high budget superhero movies at all. Like, he's a very small local New Zealand talent. But he pitched the idea of making the movie sort of like Bill and Ted, just in space with these superheroes. And it was so visual that with his mood board, he got the job. And for me, that really resonates with me. So I think, like, if you were pitching to some guy like me with like a very visual brain, having a mood board and having, like, he selected the soundtrack and everything already. And the studio just ate it up and just like, yes, let's get this guy on board. So
Yeah, that's what I think.
for
that's
me,
a
the
really good
synopsis
point.
seems like, the synopsis seems like it needs to be visual, and a mood board can only enhance it. At least I don't think it would detract from it. That's sort of my feeling about it.
Well, if you're trying to seduce producers, and give them money, give you money, I guess, it's about seduction. Yeah, it's just
you do have
make
to
people
sell it.
excited, right? So I'm guessing I think it's a good idea. Well, the more you have, no. Oh, but we are very visual, I guess.
Okay, so we're down to the last step, number 4.
Yeah.
last step.
This is the
it.
hardest.
Yeah.
This is the hardest. The log line. And the log line is what you'll see on the back of the DVD. Do people buy DVDs? On the back of the DVD on
I did.
Netflix. If you're looking at a television
this
guide,
correct?
do people...
The log line,
Log
like
line?
this.
Log line, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that is like 75 words.
So that's
Yeah,
the
that's-
elevator pitch.
Yeah, 75 words. That's the I got in the elevator and I pushed the button. That's what you do. Those are really, really hard to do. And I was in preparation for that, thinking to myself, oh, maybe I should just make a whole list of log lines of all my scripts, and just so I've got it there, and just get myself into that habit of, okay, pare away, make it as impactful as possible. And there are actually services you can hire writers to write your log line. I mean, that's just because you're so invested into the story. Oh, I got to include this bit. I got to include that bit. And it's like, well, you've got 75 words. That's it. That's the limit.
So having an external eye to judge what's important in what's the point of the movie, and
And it's painful to have that done to you.
Just to put it into perspective for like everyday people, like imagine most people complain that a tweet is too short. So like it was 140 characters, and then they increased it to 240, I think. I mean, they're characters, not words, but I imagine like the tweet length is kind of like 75 words. So the length of a tweet to sum up your entire movie.
You're posting on Imager.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you got. That's what you got.
Yeah.
I'm going to share the script, not the script, sorry, the storyboard from the Four Goddesses. So while you guys are speaking, I'm just going to do a little BGM background video while we're talking away, boys. So keep going. I'm working in the background here. So
cool, for sure.
So you start with the treatment, you go to the script, then the synopsis, which is supposed to sell the producer and the cameraman, and then finally you get to the log line, which is the very, very short pitch to sell it to an audience
Yeah.
that's reading it on the back of a DVD case, basically.
So in my case, it's not a DVD case. It's entering film festivals. They require
right.
log lines, and
Right.
they're getting thousands of submissions, and so they're very making a decision. Okay, this sounds interesting. Nah.
Yeah, they don't even have time to read a synopsis, right?
No.
That's too long.
No.
That's
Wow.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a harsh world, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's crazy because like when we were making this thing, man, he told me all this story and all the dialogue and all the the storyboarding and stuff. It was crazy. Like his vision, I was like, man, this is insane to make. And when we got to the locations, it was exactly how it looked in the storyboard. And then he had all the script, everything that everyone was gonna say. It was like my first sort of big narrative introduction, right? So it's
Okay, so-
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the storyboard, the location, I was that's shot in a town not too far from here, up a little bit up north, called Fukutsu, and the tourism board, they took me around one Sunday and showed me maybe 12, 15 shrines. And I took a camera and I was like, okay, this one's great, this one's not so great. It's like, and it's really. They were really, really helpful and really, really patient with me. And, it's like, okay, I've got this idea in my hand. What do I have to show about the story? And, oh, look, they just renovated the front of this shrine. No, I can't use this one.
Oh, because you wanted the old shrine. That's right.
I wanted the
yeah.
troll shrine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
so
that's
the
right.
stairs that we shot was the first place we went. Those stairs were just perfect. And we climbed all the way up to the top and it's like, oh, that building is too big and too new.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I talked to the woman who was governing me. I said, Fukutsu as a town, it's doing well these years, right? Because everybody's renovating their shrines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I had to go to another
That's a very
place
big
too.
thing in Japan. Like, yeah, for them, renovating is huge, and a lot of the times, they'll say a building is like thousands of years old, but it's been renovated a number of times and even like rebuilt in some cases.
Well, that's
It's like
the case.
The old, yeah.
Yeah, with shrines, they have to do it every 20 years or 40 years or something like that. That they have to rebuild it. And so the bigger ones, the ones that have more money, will do that. The smaller ones that have no money won't do that, which is the premise of the movie. The premise of the movie is that these goddesses live in this shrine and they have no money. Their shrine is falling down, as you will see in the
Yeah.
film.
Speaking of film. Oh, do you have a
Speaking of
little
film,
trailer? Oh,
segue.
do you have something? Do you have a little segue? Do we have something available
have a
that we could
segue.
actually show? Yeah.
So this is the open. This is where we first meet the goddesses, and this is what William and Nigel shot with me, and it's just basically their typical Sunday morning. It's hot weather, and they're been in this place for far too long. A lot like us with COVID now. Stuck in the same room. Imagine stuck in the same room with three brothers and sisters. Well, three
That's right.
sisters stuck in.
Yeah.
But they're stuck in this room for decades.
Oh wow.
Decades and decades and decades.
That's right.
Well,
that's
yeah.
right. All right, I think we're ready. I think this is an exclusive here tonight. We're going to be showing the Four Goddesses trailer, and Mark was able to provide a trailer for us. So here we go. In 3, 2. Be quiet, everybody, as it plays. So 3, 2, 1.
うるさすぎる。
ちょっとはるちゃん、
日曜日の朝はいつも静かでしょ。
よっしゃ
おめでとう、ナミちゃん、あんたの勝ち。
ー、やった。ちょっとはるちゃん、誰か来たか見てきてよ。
なんでいつも私なの？
いいから。
失礼。 誰もいないよ。
All right,
Nice.
so there you go. There you go.
Not quite
So
sure,
much
but-
facial expressions going on. I love it.
The
Yes, yes.
the girls who did it, they're all, pretty pro actresses. And so they had these lines that they had to, spit out, whatever, say. I tell you, man, they nailed 90% of these lines perfectly. And the only reason they didn't nail it was because Mark was like on top of them. He was like, no, it has to be this way. Your face and your reaction. And he was the full on director. He was not a script guy or a writer at this point. He was the director and I was a cameraman and I had to provide the angles. But it was Mark's sort of input from the script to the visuals and stuff. So
Yes.
he was integral in making the actresses, especially in Japanese. Their English isn't that great, so he had to convey his message in Japanese, which is, it's quite hard to do, obviously. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's, so when we were shooting, it was a great thrill to see the scenes come to be,
to come alive, right?
When Haru, does the scene where she looks into the ring, it's like, the ring is supposed to be a mirror. It's like, yeah, that's what I had in my head
Yeah,
a year and a half ago
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a coffee shop.
That's right. That's right.
Uh,
Yeah, it was
So, I mean,
awesome. It was
there's-
awesome, yeah. You look like you're gonna cry back there or something. Like you're getting so emotional. I think seeing it finally,
Well, I
manifested
do.
something
finally
you saw in
seeing
your
it.
head.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like I mean, I've seen edit. I'm watching it time and time and time again, and it's like, okay, oh, there's that little mistake, and there's that little mistake. But there's other things like when I was making that outtake, I kind of watched what Nami did when they're playing the cards, right? I mean, it was a setup. So she pulls the card out and she realized there's this little thing. She's like, "I've got this. I've got this. I've got this game." And I didn't notice it. So is that to me? That's the thrill of this. That I can still, after 2 years, it still excites me.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can ever do all this. This is beyond my capabilities, and I don't think I would ever go through all of the 4 steps that you showed us. And it's not something I can do. I can pick up a camera and find the angles, but I can't do all what you've shown me. And that's why there's separate jobs for everybody, right? Everybody can do certain things, right? So I'm not a script writer, and
Yeah.
creating all this
For me,
stuff.
what's
I can't do it.
impressive, for me, what's impressive is the drive that you need to carry a project that long, right? You started writing the script many years ago, and then you find actors, and then you do rehearsals, and then you actually shoot it, and then you edit it.
Yeah.
It takes many years, and that's one project. And I'm the person who just gets bored and just wants to jump on to the next thing, right? And I admire that. So it's really, really amazing, like being able to stay on a project.
The rehearsals,
For
I'll tell
so
you
long.
right now, the rehearsals, he must have rehearsed with the actresses, I'd say, 6 months, Mark? I don't know. You did a lot of rehearsing and
did a
stuff.
lot
I
of
went to some of them with you and stuff. And yeah, it was,
Yeah.
sitting at a table, 4 girls citing their lines off over and over and over again, right?
It's not so hard because they're kind of pretty.
Yeah.
What do you mean, kinda?
Well, yeah, I know where he's talking about. It's Oh, I gotta go do my script reading. Bye. I get what he's saying. But, yeah. But no, but watching them recite the lines is amazing because like I couldn't say 2 paragraphs and remember exactly what to say. And honestly, only a few times I just couldn't remember certain things that they were supposed to say. So that was really, really cool to see them do all that. And you actually see them on Japanese TV, those 2 girls. I saw them on Besto Dinky electronic store commercials and stuff. You'll see Laura and stuff on TV. So it's like, oh, there's Laura. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's nice.
Good question.
There's-
Yeah,
I have a good
question.
question from Matt.
Yeah. Where can we
see the
see the
film.
full film? Is it on the festival circuit at the moment, Mark? There you go.
It started.
Thank you.
Okay, so do you live in Saga City, just over here?
It's not far from us. Yeah.
For you,
It's
for
not far
the
from-
viewers who don't know, Saga City is just behind Fukuoka City here in Japan, and Saga is really famous for allowing a lot of independent filmmakers to come here,
Yes.
and they give a lot of money out to filmmakers because there's a lot of anime TV shows about the Saga region. So there's a lot of Filipinos
yeah.
who are dying to come here and film in Saga, and Saga Film Commission loves to bring foreigners into that area, and they hand over money and stuff. So just a little insight there. If you hear the word Saga, not Sega, Saga.
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 So film festivals, yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking now. I'm trying to decide which ones to enter, which ones are worth the $50. Okay, so it's $50, but yeah, after 10 entries, my wife gets angry. Actually, she gets angry before that. So I have entered in one film festival, as I said, this one in Saga. They'll make the decision this week or next. I think it's this week. They'll make the decision this week, which is tomorrow. And I'm looking at a couple other ones in Kyushu, and I'm looking at places. India, Beirut seems to be quite popular, and I'm also asking a lot of other directors that I know, what would you recommend for this kind of film?
I see.
And we actually will have I guess this will be the Caboose Studios premiere. I'm working on it right now. A coffee shop in downtown Fukuoka, just south of Tianjin. Hopefully do it in April. COVID, who knows? But it's a small coffee. It's got a big upstairs, and you can get 35 people.
Okay, we're gonna have a party.
Nice.
You mean? Woohoo! Party.
Nice.
Yes, we're going to try
premiere,
a party.
Screening.
Nice. Nice.
Yes.
Cool. That's
Awesome.
awesome. So awesome. We'll check out our again. We'll be on Twitter blasting all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we'll
for sure.
go from there. We'll
I
definitely
want-
help each other out. Yeah.
I want to ask Mark because this world is very foreign to me, and I come from the background of YouTube, just uploading things and just putting it out there and being like a self-publisher. So I get that the film festivals, they have curated a group of people that are passionate about short films, which is the main benefit of them. But would you ever consider releasing movies straight to the internet and try to get that audience yourself somehow? Would you consider that possibility, or would you stick to the strict standards of going mainly to festivals?
Oh.
Okay, so there's another project I'm beginning to work on. It's a cooking show, a vegan cooking show, and this is what we're debating about now. Where we're going to put the show out, and YouTube, as you know, you have to regularly release, right? You have to put something out, once a week or once a day, or whatever you're going to do.
Continuous
You have to continue
content.
to release. And filmmaking doesn't work that way. You just can't. You can't continue with a. I mean, you're the YouTuber. I'm not. But with the YouTube I've seen, it's one guy, a camera, talking about whatever product I'm going to support or whatever political issue I'm going to. You don't have to worry about an editor being late, or one of your actresses got pregnant.
Real
Not just
world.
one.
Real world, eh? Real
Not
world.
just one, two of them.
Oh wow.
So yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
yeah.
Wasn't me.
I see. Mark's humor.
Yeah. So if you're wanting to have a child, you should join my projects.
It seems to happen. But
No, I would after. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
So yeah, YouTube is, of course, you're not wrong when you're saying you need to have like regular uploads. But I've also seen examples of channels on YouTube succeeding with just stellar content, and they maybe upload like once a year or less. And definitely old content tends to rise to the top if people like it. So I wouldn't see that as a barrier for you. Like if you end up putting it on YouTube, who knows? It could get organic growth over time.
Yeah.
Don't let the whole like usual YouTuber of uploading every week kind of thing stop you,
Yeah.
because you don't have to do that, I think.
Yeah.
And you
So
could,
I don't know.
also
It would
find
be
a way
exciting
to
to see you.
yeah, and you could also find a way to release content regularly, to just post updates about what you're doing
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
make
that's
the
true.
movie,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The whole
yeah.
process, right?
Yeah.
Like
There's a great YouTuber that we all really enjoy, and he's
yeah,
his account is
talking
called
about
Pony
Sandberg.
Smasher. Yeah, Sandberg.
yes,
So he's the director behind Annabelle as well as Shazam. So he's done these big movies, but he has his own YouTube channel where he does horror movies with his wife, and then he posts. Yeah, it's really fun.
You
Like, he does all
didn't wash the dishes.
Yeah.
This fork
but like
is not
William
clean.
mentioned, like
That's funny.
but like most of his content is actually behind the scenes stuff, or sort of like how to of how he's rigged certain things up. So a lot of it is, it's almost like DVD commentary level content, where it's like he'll talk about a movie and say like, oh, here's a giant mistake we made in Shazam, and here's how we managed to fix it, and here's how people didn't notice, and you know, we got away with it. So
Yeah.
like that stuff is awesome, and it really gives
Like
you
Mark-
a huge
Mark-
insight into the world.
There was this funny scene where Mark had the table set up, and I didn't want to move my camera. You remember this, Mark? And the girls had to dance around the table. They had to dance around
yes.
the table. And Mark came up with this fantastic idea. Instead, just move the table with the girl, and then move the girl here, and then the girl here as the girls danced around her. I know this is kind of confusing, but basically the theory is it would produce a different angle to make it look like I had moved my camera. But we didn't actually move the camera. We just moved the position of the table and then the chair. And Mark had it all in his head. And I was like, is this going to look good? And he's like, yeah, we moved the table this way. Then the camera, then we can cut to this. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And it was hilarious. It worked in the end. That's a video in itself, like how to trick one camera to make it look like 4 different angles, but don't move the camera. So
I think
Yeah.
I was pretty good
should
at faking my
check out this
confidence
guy.
on that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, so for-
William just put up the banner to the director
Yeah.
that I
you
mentioned
should,
Oh, yeah?
you
before.
should
So
definitely check out
Pony
this guy.
Smasher.
It's really good. Like, it's filmmaking, script writing, directing, everything from a guy who actually made it in Hollywood, and he tells you everything. That's just
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Matt coming in there, he really shows his love of just making stuff.
yeah, Matt really appreciates having you on, Mark. So really, thank you for coming on. I mean,
Yeah.
you seem to be reaching a lot of people here.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, this was something I wanted to share because it's a different world that I'm not used to. So just one little last twibit. This will be the last thing. If you are interested in script building, our friends at Masterclass, you guys all know them. They teach you all the wonderful world of stuff. They have an online course. So yeah, you could learn from Chef Ramsay and all the different stuff. Turns out, what's her name there? Jodie Foster has a fantastic section. In case you didn't know, she's actually a director. And
I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah. So she does, look at that, right off the bat. Look at that. Jump to section. What is a treatment? Do you need a film treatment? So there you go. If you are interested, you can find this course online and you can learn about film treatments and all the wonderful world of script writing. And you too can be just like Mark. And I think that's an
Scary.
awesome. Yeah.
The scary thing about that is that Jodie Foster, 50-year career.
Wow. I'm old.
Oh, yeah. Taxi Driver. Do you remember her in Taxi Driver?
No,
Oh,
I
that's her. No,
That's
I've
her.
of course, yeah.
Wow,
That's
wow,
her in
wow,
Taxi
wow,
Driver.
wow. That's
For me, I
awesome.
remember her from Contact. That's her in Contact, right?
Yes.
I just know her
I love
from
Contact.
the you know, what's his name? The butterfly.
Oh yeah, Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, Clarice.
They're actually coming out with a TV series. It was posted on the NFL Super Bowl, and they're coming out with a TV series or some new
You mean
series. of
again?
it. Yeah, it's coming out. It's
Again.
coming out. Just look at it.
Because
It's on
there was
PBS or
already
something.
Hannibal with the
No.
guy.
It's called the butterfly or whatever it was, the name of the movie.
Okay.
So
Silence of the Lambs.
Again, cool.
yeah, that's
Cool.
it. Signs of the Lambs. So, all right, guys. I think we're going to let Mark go. I think he's got to go
Okay.
back to his working. And
I
thank
have
you
dishes
so
to
much.
wash.
Ah, yes. Good
I
boy.
have dishes
Good
to
man.
wash.
Good man. All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye to Mark. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. If you,
Thank you, gentlemen,
you,
for having me
Mark.
on.
you bet, man. Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
All right, so there you go, guys. That was Mark Cowan. He completely gave us the underbelly of script writing and all that different stuff. What do you guys think? Did you
That was
learn
really
anything
cool,
tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
for
learned
sure,
a ton.
for sure.
I really just going through all the steps of writing the whole thing. I mean, it's completely foreign to me, and getting insight into it firsthand from somebody who's been through these steps. I mean, very valuable. Like insanely cool to have him on and just tell about the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I learned that I will probably never be a screenwriter because that seems very, very hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would do a storyboard for my YouTube videos and stuff,
Yeah.
or doing like a corporate video where I say you do this, you do that. But I
I
don't
actually
know,
like
man. The
doing
amount of steps.
storyboards and mood board and storyboard. I like doing those, but actually writing text, like long pages of text, and
Yeah.
it's so hard for me.
Yeah, it's very narrative style. So, all right. Well, I think tonight was a long one. Wow, 1 hour and 16 minutes. We really went long
damn.
on this one. So yeah, yeah. Elephant.
Should we do a quick little summary? I have all the banners ready here. So
Sure, go
Mark
ahead.
talked about
Yeah.
first making the treatment, and I'm gonna do my best to summarize the points that he mentioned.
Please do,
Treatment
John.
is a sort of like not too detailed, like word for word of the story from beginning to end, and so you have it, but you don't go too much into like the
It's kinda
you
like
know,
the skeleton
the
of the
color of the
story, right?
walls or something. Yeah, it's the skeleton.
Yeah.
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 And then you get into the script where you add all the details and even dialogue, but you don't put any technical stuff like camera angles or stuff like that, or like frames per second. And then you move on to a synopsis, and this is a 3-paragraph outline of the story that's supposed to sell and entice producers and cameramen to get on to your project, or even actors and actresses. Like you need some way to get people to unite under your project. And then finally you have the log line, which is the line you put to sell to an audience that's browsing many movies at once. That's sort of how I got it. So like
It's
an
basically
audience
the
that goes
short,
to a film festival.
basically
Yeah.
the short description that you get on Netflix, for example, or
Yeah. You're like you're looking at
yeah.
movies on Netflix and you want to decide what to watch for the night. You got
it's like
tons
the
of
one
movies
phrase,
competing.
one or two
Yeah.
sentences, basically, right?
Intense.
Can I
So
just
yeah,
run-
Mark mentioned this was one of the most difficult things to write, and it's something
I
that
bet.
some people outsource because you have such a detailed idea of all the things that goes into your movie that it's gonna be so hard to leave things out.
Yeah.
That's a
What
good
you're
point. Yeah.
So where does the storyboard come into all of this? Now that you have the script, the log, and you have
that's
the,
when you're
where do you?
collaborating with your cameraman and director
Yeah.
and everything.
I would guess
So-
you need to bring the director in and the director of photography even, and make them work on the storyboard with a storyboarder,
Yeah.
someone who
Yeah.
can draw actually, and come
Yeah.
up with the shots, right?
That's why it's called
So
the DP.
this-
It's the director of photography. He is the man who's going to give the vision. My opening shot is going to be this drone as it's revealing the lake. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We need an opening lake shot. Okay, cool. That's why it's called the director of photography, right? So
Matt adds here that just to emphasize what you just said,
with the
Nigel,
shot list,
storyboard
exactly.
would be used just before a shoot to go along with the shot list.
yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I watched the intro to the first Deadpool movie, they have these credits, and like they'll add some sort of like funny thing to every
I
sort of
agree.
credit. And Deadpool in that movie, they have like the name of the screenwriter, and then it says under that like the real hero behind this movie or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I thought that was so cool because listening to Mark now, you definitely see that the screenwriter who goes through these 4 steps has to put so much of himself or herself into the project.
That's
and,
insane.
the credit usually goes to the actors and the director. And the
Yeah, yeah,
DP.
right,
So,
right, right,
yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah.
so I really like
That's
that
true.
when I watched the Deadpool movie, and they just had like the real hero of this film, screenwriter.
Yeah. By the way,
And
filmed in Vancouver.
and even though I remember that from that movie, I don't remember the name of the screenwriter of Deadpool. So that just goes to show that these guys, they have a PR problem.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
one
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
one thing also is that on big studio movies, especially like superhero stuff and that kind of stuff, they go on they have a chart of what they need to put in the movie, and actually it's probably teams that write the script.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, it's not like the vision from one guy that's being made into a movie. It's more like, oh, we need to make a movie, and here, please write something for us. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So it has less, I guess, less of a creative vision there
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
something
for sure,
that
for
has,
sure.
yeah, something where the screenplay is actually from an author is a very different thing, I think.
Also, too,
Like Mark.
when I was working with Mark, we only had the person for a couple of days, but it was a script continuity person. And
Supervisor, script
supervisor, and
right?
she was making sure that things were sort of what's the word? Continuity?
Continuity, yeah.
It had the same, he was smoking a cigarette, and then the next scene might be the next day at a different area, but in the video it would actually be him smoking here, and then it would have to match correctly. So we had that person for a short while, but that's something also you want to think about, is having the continuity between the shots and stuff. So there is actually somebody who does that for a living. Is I forget the exact name of it, but
Yeah, I think it's script supervisor, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, on IMDb, they have a separate section that is like continuity mistakes that people.
Yeah,
notice in
yeah,
movies.
totally. Yeah.
So I imagine if you're a big studio,
The
you want to
goofs.
avoid, the
Yeah.
goofs. You want to avoid as many
The
times.
groups on IMDb is
Small
really fun.
things like they're holding a cigarette in the right hand and now they're holding it in the left hand or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree though. Scott says here too, he says, I always think of it as like a comic book. I see it as a comic book. And I came from the comic book generation. I'm big, Ninja Turtles and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I used to, that's how I think when I'm making something. I think of a comic book. So yeah.
Exactly.
definitely.
They especially did that in The Matrix. Famously, the storyboard was really like pushed so far that it was actually a comic book. Like it was really like the it wasn't like square panels, like a panel and a text. It was really like written like with like diagonals and panels overlapping each other, just like a real comic book.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and that's
I never knew
that's
that.
how they managed to sell, because it's a very visual movie, right? If you're gonna try to send the script to a producer, they're gonna read the script, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this movie about? Like because it's such a complicated movie. It's such a hard to grasp movie. But if you have a very compelling
Log
visual
line visually.
a very visual book, comic book version of your movie. That's a very good sell, I think. So The Matrix had a very, like, to the shot, it looks exactly the same. If you put it next to each other with the film, it looks
that's cool.
exactly the same on some shots. It's impressive. Yeah,
It's like Disney, man. Disney's like that. So
isn't it too? Yeah, probably.
Very
yeah,
cool.
for
Anyway,
sure. Okay, cool. So
Okay, we
let's
should
move
wrap
on.
it up.
Next week, I believe, I don't know for sure, but maybe not everyone's going to be here next week. So
yeah, I might not be here. Sorry, guys.
So I got a little idea.
Yeah.
That's why I actually brought Mark in tonight. Was I want to see what it's like in the system that we're using to bring in, people in the pipeline and bring in guests and stuff. And I love this format. I thought it worked really well. So next week I want to have a little Q&A with some of our viewers. Matt Ferris, if you want to come in, and we will test you beforehand. I just want to make sure you got a camera and you have all those kind of things, and you got a mic and headphones, just the little things, which I'm sure you do. But if you are interested, give us a shout out, and we would love to do a little Q&A with some of you guys and rebound ideas and things. Just send us a link through our friends. John, I'm sure, his friends. And if you're interested in, if you're a friend of mine, you're watching this, hit me up on social media, and we'll have a fun little Q&A. And just, I think, what do you think, John? Do you like that idea?
I mean, we tested today having a guest on, and I think it worked very fine. So having different people on, especially if we try them out first, it'll work out fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll give you a link and everything, so it's really easy in the StreamYard system. It's actually a lot easier than Zoom, I found. So, yeah, definitely a little pre-interview is, I think, a great idea, sort of get a feel for everybody, what we're going to go over. So, yeah, anyways, I think that's it. So, yeah, William, we will maybe see you next week. I don't know. He might be in the Alps somewhere doing something. I don't know what he's up to.
Yeah.
He's crazy boy
I'm
over
going
there.
to Hokkaido in the north of Japan. In the
Yeah.
Seems
cold.
like Matt's on board.
Nice.
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 So when William goes skiing, Matt will keep us company, and maybe some other people as well.
Give me some of that Irish whiskey. Sorry, I'll stop. I'll stop doing those accents. I'm Canadian, man. We have everyone. We love each other. So, all right, you too. Have a good weekend. All right, guys. So
Have a
that's
good
it
weekend.
for La Film Nation. If you guys liked it, smash that like button. Find us all over on social media. We're always around. And as always, guys, peace. Later.
Peace.
Woohoo.